Jerry, I have a question.
Let's talk about conversion therapy, since it's definitely in the news right now as the Supreme Court is hearing a case about Colorado's law. What's your thoughts on conversion therapy?
So I, as a straight man, don't have a ton of experience or direct contact with this. I read a book and hosted an author named Lucas Wilson on my podcast, Cabernet and Pray, and he wrote a book called Shame, Sex, Attraction. That is a whole bunch of survivors telling their stories of conversion therapy, and reading that book was so eye-opening and disturbing. Not only is there no evidence across the board that conversion therapy works, like there's not a track record of like, hey, we've actually succeeded in this. It is so damaging, so bizarre. I mean, they are essentially like snake oil salesmen, but then they bring in this religious bent to it to forcibly make someone not what they are.
What is snake oil?
It's not real. Like someone who's selling you a product that isn't, you know, the expression.
Is that things people grew up in the church talking about?
No, that's a common cultural reference to a practice that used to be snake oil salesmen, and the idea being that's not real. It's not a real product. I mean, it exists, but it's a placebo, if that. And so when you actually talk to people who have been through, which I have, I don't know how you can even remotely justify this is Christians expecting people who don't behave like us to be like us, and we're willing to use force and forcibly make them feel awful about themselves, break down their mental understanding of who they are.
So gay people to become heterosexual or trans to become cis.
Yeah. All right, so I had Lucas Wilson on episode 51 of my Cabernet and Pray podcast. Here's a quote from the book that I thought was so eye-opening. He said, "Conversion ideology and practices are genocidal in nature. Indeed, conversion practices target members of the LGBTQ communities with the intent to completely destroy queer culture, queer identity, queer expression, and queer social vitality. Attempts to erase queer life operate on a global scale and constitute planned, coordinated, and long-term efforts." So that was an interesting metaphor of like, this is a therapeutic genocide on a group of people and their identity.